Hello and welcome everyone to the LCS Challengers League. The road almost coming to an end. We've had 3 weeks of the regular season, 7 weeks of the regular season, 3 weeks of playoffs, all leading to this final week right here where we decide who is going to be our champion. It's going to be a blast, baby. My name is Eric Deserex Beltran. Joining me, there's a million different other realities, but in this one, I have Joshua Joshi Howard as my analyst, and of course the madman of the top lane draft. Our guest of the day is going to be Golden Guardians top laner Concept. And Concept, I gotta ask you right now, if Josh is Doctor Strange, what Avenger does that make you?
If Josh is Doctor Strange, wow, I'm an Avenger now. Okay,
you're an Avenger now. I think there's a very easy answer, but not one that's potentially politically correct.
I like Thor.
Okay, there we go.
Let's go.
That's way better.
Specifically,
do you have a hammer?
Specifically, Fat Thor. I like him. Do I have a hammer?
I have a pen. Is that close enough?
I have many objects around that I can use as a hammer, but I don't have an actual hammer.
All right, we'll work on it.
Not in the room.
All right. Well, I hope you're ready to have a good time with us because we got quite a few things we need to get through, some tape that we need to get through. Up next, we give out an award to our developing players called Most Valuable Prospects, an award to highlight someone we believe will be a future force within the LCS. While our winner will be announced tomorrow, we would like to highlight some of the contenders of this award. And this today's highlight is going to be none other than the Wi-Fi wizard from FlyQuest Challengers, Masu.
At number 2 on our Most Valuable Prospect list for Spring 2023 is Masu. Did you know in the first 3 weeks of the regular season, this kid went 10-4 playing on 120 ping on Wi-Fi from Toronto? Yeah, there's a reason we call him the Wi-Fi Wizard. The MVP award for NACL is not about being the best player now, but a player that will bring wins to LCS teams in the future. While we're not as confident that Masu is immediately ready for the LCS, the growth he's shown over his rookie split is remarkable. You can see his growing pains this split, moving from Toronto to LA and dropping his average ping by 110. Despite that, his KDA jumped from 3.0 to 4.9, and he won 7 of his next 8 games. If he continues this trajectory, we have no doubt he will be LCS ready in 2024. The biggest compliment we can give Masu is his unique ability to visualize plays before they happen. He sees angles and steps up to them in ways that most other ADCs in the league will not, especially in 1v1 and 1v2 situations. On top of that, he showed a proficiency to maximize the output damage capable from his champion, whether on something safe like a Xayah or something aggressive like a Kalista. The fact that he's doing all of this as a rookie is what makes us so excited for his continued development. For these reasons, Masu is one of our most valuable prospects.
At the start of the season, Soulstrikes was very excited about this marksman that he hyped up. And I gotta say, Josh, FlyQuest hit the jackpot.
Yeah, they've been looking super, super strong. The fact that Masu has come around and had so much strength, kind of off the bat, as soon as they all came together, was impressive. But Concept, we have one more person to reveal. That will be tomorrow. Who do you think is the most deserving of the most valuable prospect this split?
I mean, I've always been of the opinion that I think, there's a lot of players, I think, in Academy that could use a decent chance. Just from personally, recently, what I think that Mir has been really impressive. I mean, we'll see him today. I hope that he presses us again, but I think he's been really impressive. And even though jungle is a really competitive role in the LCS, I think that he would probably do pretty well, I think, from what I've seen.
All right, now, before we hit the battlefield, I'm going to need to collect some permission slips. Concept, you're good. Golden Guardians already gave me yours. Josh?
I got it signed. I got it signed. Yeah, right here. Let's go.
All right. Well, we're good now. Let's move on and hop onto the bus. Join our buddy Mazel, who'll be taking us on a field trip for this week's On the Range.
Hey kids, let's go on a field trip.
Field trip?
No school? Oh boy. All right, kids, we're gonna be taking a look at the top 3 teams in the NACL playoffs. Where you go? Sit down back there.
Hold on to your backpacks for this one, kids, because Cloud9 Challengers are terrifying. Scarier than any storm on the western plains of Texas. They brought the thunder and lightning to the NACL playoffs, and they even tamed the wild stallion that was Team Liquid Challengers. They were dissecting the competition just like how you dissect pigs back in your science class in school. That was until they met their match in Dignitas Challengers. And they brought the storm when Insanity took the Storm Dragon himself and calmed Cloud9 Challengers. Now they have to try to retain that stallion they let loose in the bottom bracket.
Yo, we're here on the range. Yo, it's great. Yeah, I said you get.
Hey, whippersnapper, quit making the TikTok.
Things weren't looking too good for our horse kids, and that lower bracket was scary. But they took down CLG. They took down Golden Guardians. They even took down their old rivals in 100 Thieves Challengers. Then they done lopped the head off Fear, our best provisional team in our bracket. And now they're up against a revenge match again against Cloud9 Challengers. How fitting is that?
My favorite thing about the NACL, y'all, is just the people, all right? It's surrounded by great people. We got good
Are we
things
there
going,
yet?
Good people. And
I gotta catch my
good
Charizard.
players. And, you know, sometimes they say that...
There yet?
Now, kiddos, we of course saved the best for last for you here on the range. We got our prize piece, Dignitas Challengers, who I will say flew under everybody's radar just a little bit, but of course here it is beautiful to see. They took down FlyQuest Challengers with ease, then they even took down 100 Thieves. By golly, they were looking good. If you thought the Dignitas story couldn't get any better, well, the next challenge they had to face was Cloud9 Challengers, one of our top teams in the NACL playoffs. But kids, don't you worry, they made quick work of them.
All right, kids, did you learn anything today?
It's the same top 3 as last year.
Concept, how'd you like the field trip, brother?
I had a great time. It was a blast of the past, honestly. It's fantastic.
Goodness gracious. This is one of the times where I'm happy Alex is on the casting desk, not on the analyst desk. I know he would be saying, are we there yet? Are we there yet?
The whole time.
Well, let's move on to our next little bit right now. It's such a big occasion. We got WrestleMania weekend this weekend, as well as the NACL finals. And you know me, I'm big on the combat sports. I want to bring that hype here to the NACL. For our final 2 series of this weekend, we've packaged all the hype up that we can bring it to our Rift, which is our squared circle for this week's Super Heavyweight SmackDown.
This weekend, you've seen regular seasons. You've seen LCS playoffs, but you've never seen this. It's time for a Super Heavyweight SmackDown! Dignitas Challengers sit atop a throne of bones crafted from the remains of their adversaries. One more match to determine their #1 contender. In the red corner, Team Liquid Challengers entered the tournament as the 9th seed and ran through the competition, led by World Jungler Mir, assisted by rookie mid laner APA and support Kim Down, carried by veteran Arrow, and motivated by 2 Chainz top laner Bradley. 3 consecutive finals, back-to-back champion, Team Liquid Challengers! And in the blue corner, this team dominated the regular season with 2 of the best mid laners in the league. Undefeated until their scrap against Dignitas, and they're hungry for a rematch. Big God, Diplex, Lost, Zazel, 4 players with LCS experience climbing their way back to the top of the region, with sophomore year jungler Tomio as their guard dog. This org looks to reclaim the space they once owned in 21 Spring. Cloud9 Challengers awaiting their opponent in the grand finals. The raid boss of Spring, the talkers of the league, ready to return to the LCS. Hoon with the single most solo kills of any player in the league. X2 with his signature carry picks and heavy invade playstyle. Insanity with his ability to win matchups harder than anyone should. Spawn as the ringer from LCS and consistent team fight threat. Diamond as the winningest support in the history of the league. This team was built to take the title, and they have one more best of 5 in their way. Dignitas Challengers! Who will win the NACL Spring Split? Who will walk away victorious? Find out on this week's Super Heavyweight SmackDown!
All right, no more field trips. We got the action now. How you feeling about that? You pumped, Concept?
I'm hyped. I'm really hyped. I'm really excited to watch today's games, actually. I think it'll be really, really fun.
Nice. I mean, honestly, my favorite part of that is at the very end, Eric, where you start going, smack.
I'm not going to joke. Every time I do smack, I literally like shake my face onto the microphone, really get that effect going. But hey, it hypes up what we have at hand right now, which is our top 3. I couldn't be more excited for it at the end of the day. You know, I made the super heavyweight SmackDown for a reason. In fact, let's talk about the story of how these teams did get here. Let's pull up the bracket so we can investigate that better. As we know, there's not really too much to say here. Dignitas versus C9 upper bracket resulted in C9 getting pulled down. Team Liquid's lower bracket run almost came to an end, but they did manage that Game 5 win against Fear.
Yeah. It's been super fascinating to watch because we have the exact same top 3 as we had in summer. Dignitas waiting in finals for the winner of Cloud9 and Team Liquid Challengers. It was a little bit different, but Concept, Team Liquid, they knocked you guys out.
They did. They did. They actually completely destroyed us. It's true. I mean, yeah, that was a bit unfortunate, but I think props to TL. I was as okay as one can be after getting eliminated like that. You know, I think that they've really improved. I think that the whole team has come together a lot more than my team did, and I really respected that. Because I think that that takes,
You have to be cheering for them too, right? Because, you know, whenever you get knocked out of the tournament, you have to say, yeah, but we lost to the winners. So, like, how bad can it be?
That would help. It would help my pride for sure, yeah. I definitely need that.
I mean, that's one way to cope, I guess. But hey, pre-show shenanigans, they're done. It's time to get to work because 3 teams remain. That's one too many for finals, lads. Team Liquid Challengers versus Cloud9 Challengers, 2 orgs that are very familiar with dominating the space at different times. Only one of them can head to our grand finals, and what a road it's been. Cloud9 unscathed until the previous round. Team Liquid lower bracket domination. Let's start pulling up the roster, starting up with Cloud9. I mean, what can you say about this squad? It was very terrifying coming into the split, still looking strong now.
Yeah, I mean, they started off with MNS, right? He was the most solo killingest player in the league until he was promoted to LCS, and then Hoon took over that mantle. But Diplex has come in and has not dropped a beat, has been looking fantastic. But the thing that we do have to remember about all these guys is that there's so much experience on this roster. The only player on here who does not have LCS experience is Tomio, and we've seen that all of these guys have had a lot of opportunity to strut their stuff throughout the regular season.
And let's pull up some of the history of what Cloud9 Challengers have been doing when it comes to the semi-pro space. I mean, during the old Academy days, Cloud9 was that team. As you can see right there, 4 first-place finishes within a 3-year span before Proving Grounds. You know, some of the names during those days, Blabber, Fudge, Califox, even Zazel. They were a powerhouse in the scene and producing good players, Josh.
Yeah. And it's fascinating to watch it. Ever since Proving Grounds has started, it feels weird to say that they've slumped, right? They're still getting 2nd, 3rd, and 5th over the past couple of years, but this is another opportunity for them to reclaim that title that they have not picked up since summer of 2020, looking to come back with a vengeance up against the 2-time champs.
Let's pull up those 2-time champions. Team Liquid Challengers, last year's back-to-back champions, only Bradley remaining from that roster. It was a season filled with stumbles and growing pains, but man, growth was made, and it's been on full display since their early plummet from the upper bracket. They've been fighting wars since to get to this point.
Yeah. And Concept, as we start looking at these guys, right, this was a team that came in at 9th in the regular season. I mean, to be fair, it was only a couple games separating them, but this was a team that was not expected to go this deep based on their performance in the regular standings. What's changed about them?
I think that's compared to a lot of the teams in the Academy. I can speak from my own experience that we don't have much time in this split to build teamwork, and that I think they did a better job than most of the teams. I think that they've always had talent, but they did a really good job with that. So
I want to pull up some of the history of what we've seen from Cloud9 because they've always been really good at it. Not Cloud9, excuse me, Team Liquid, because they've always been really good at it when it comes to their developmental space. More specifically, during the Proving Grounds era. You see that 13th finish? That was 2nd place in the regular season. It was an incredible upset, but Spawn does not give up on his players that easily. 4 of those members went from that 13th place finish all the way to back-to-back titles. Now it's a new roster, but they're looking for the same results.
Yeah, and it's kind of fascinating, right? Concept, you noticed that Team Liquid, before they had their dominance during the Proving Grounds era, was still like one of our better teams during the regular season of Academy through 2018 through 2020. Was there anything to the legacy that you kind of think about as a player?
I think that what has made their team so good in the long run, I think that, I mean, Team Liquid is obviously one of the best organizations. I think they have a really high standard of work there, and that they really value teamwork. And I think this is mostly why they've consistently been able to do well as a team, in my opinion. Beyond just the name.
Well, back onto Cloud9, because both of these teams have had their struggles as they've gone through the playoffs thus far. Cloud9's struggle came when it involved Dignitas. Both Insanity and Hoon, the solo lanes of Dignitas, had their big moments throughout that series. Their only win coming from Fake God absorbing a lot of that pressure over into the top side. Dignitas able to close out in that game 4. They felt the wrath of the, what do you call it, Josh? The Spaced Wagon?
The Spaced Wagon, right? It's important to get the W in there, but it is worth noting that Dignitas and Cloud9 were massive, massive scrim partners. Both sides have talked about this at some point, where they have had so much time to play against each other specifically, and it drastically changed some of the expectations we had going in, just knowing that they had already developed a little bit of a meta between them. But these small stumbles that we have seen from Cloud9, they're coming at potentially the worst time for the organization. They were first in the regular season, Eric. You and I had a whole bet about this. It's why I'm clean shaven at this point, and Cloud9, they're trying to find their way right on back towards the top of the table, but going up against the 2-time champs, going up against some of the strongest players that we've seen, have been a really tough road for Cloud9, and hopefully we can see all that experience come back and help them.
Now we got to give some highlights over to Cloud9 support player Zazel. Talk about the best beard in the league, right? Lots of experience onto that player. I want to know, Concept, what does it mean to have someone who has LCS stage experience, experience internationally as well, showing up to your squad?
I mean, it means so much. Just from my own personal experience, I can talk about Arrow. He'll be playing today as well. I thought he was just, I thought he was 2 steps up against compared to the other academy players professionally. He was very poised, and he was a really good leader for us. And I think that comes from the experience.
Yeah. We've definitely prided Zazel on being that leader for Cloud9 as well. It has been something that they've really needed and had a lot of opportunity, but something that's been interesting to me, Concept, you were talking about, is you felt as though Cloud9 came in with a really high floor with just the amount of experience and just the raw leadership that they were having. Do you feel as though that has been something that has been true throughout the rest of the season?
I do think that it's been true, and I think that they recently have had some slip-ups, but I think that they're still a really strong team, just like they were at the start of the season. It's difficult, I think, when your team is at the top to continue to push yourself to improve, and I think that some other teams like Dig that beat them, you know, they're also one of the best, and yeah, I think that some teams have been able to catch up, but they are still really strong and will be really fun to watch. So.
Now, on the topic of slip-ups, let's continue right there, because Team Liquid had some slip-ups of their own very, very early into the upper bracket. You know, what I saw from them was they were committing to a lot of plays where they didn't have the damage to really fulfill them. Good things about that was they were making commitments as a team and really dialing into those. It's about really cleaning up the rest of that play to see a good performance here.
Yeah, and something that we've noticed with Team Liquid is they tend to over-index sometimes into having strong early games, and mirror with the amount of times he'll come down towards the bot lane in order to find some of these ganks does mean that if none of these go well, it oftentimes puts them in a position where they aren't able to really come back. And it has been a situation where we have seen that if Team Liquid don't start their games off relatively strong, it can be very tough, and Cloud9 is one of the best laning teams, one of the strongest bot lanes in the entire league, Concept, and we saw that with all the attention that Mir put down bottom lane last time, Lost and Zazel stood strong.
Oh, I mean, yeah, Lost and Zazel are, for sure, I think, possibly the best bot lane in the whole league. You know, they have the L6 experience, and they really do show it. I think that, yeah, I mean, there's no secret that for the past 2 years, and especially this season, what happens bot lane is huge for the game, and definitely be fun to watch. Definitely fun to watch.
So without leaking scrims a whole lot, I am kind of curious. One of the big things that we have also prided Team Liquid on is the growth of their bottom lane. Arrow and Kim Down, a couple of players. I was not impressed with Arrow last year, but the growth that he has shown this year and the growth that Kim Down has shown have been next level. What does it take to really have this level of growth in a single split?
It takes a lot, honestly. It takes the mindset from the individuals. The individuals need to, you know, be prepared to grow together and to work together and forgive each other. And, you know, it comes from everybody pushing themselves every day in practice. And from streaming against TL, I can say that they did. They really did push themselves to succeed.
I mean, Arrow has a history of bolstering the talent he's working with. He did a lot back on Wildcard when he played both as a coach and a player, and provided that stability for Kim Down this split. I want to stress, like, at the start of the split, a lot of us were like, Arrow, that's a little bit of a, not Arrow, excuse me, Kim Down, that's a little bit of a weird one to pick up. We're not exactly sure if this is the go-to for Team Liquid. but my word, it was the right call. If there was an award for most improved, I think there's a strong argument that Kim Down belongs there. And we're not the only ones that are hyped up on Kim Down. We have an interview with Mir on his thoughts of his rookie support.
Yeah, definitely he's mechanically improved a lot, and also before he joined Team Liquid, he was support, but he wasn't support. He didn't know where to ward. He didn't know, like he just basically didn't know anything. But now I see he improved a lot. I'm pretty happy to see his improvement.
I like how that started off as like kind of low-key flame right there, but you know, the praise is there. He grew as the split went on, became a very improved player. Concept, I want to throw a question over to you. It's his rookie split. How is it like? I remember it was like 2021, you were on Immortals. How is that rookie year like, first time coming into the semi-pro space?
I mean, there's so much happening behind the scenes that you know, people don't really see on the outside, and what the player is on the outside initially is, you know, that's a really small part of everything behind their value. I think, you know, me personally, I was pretty careful with Kim Down. I would agree, he came in not the strongest player, but Team Liquid has a proven track record for success, and you know, I knew that we should watch this guy, you know, and he has improved a lot. Like, I'm sure that they believed in him and helped him do, and you know, I'm sure he'll continue to improve.
Yeah, but someone else we got to talk about here, Eric, is the potential, or at least the person that you were arguing Concept might be the most yellow prospect of the year, the best jungler left in the tournament. Mir has had so much success so far throughout the course of this split. We can see this every single time he plays. One of my favorite things to watch about Mir is his willingness to hold back abilities, his patience with his engages, and his willingness to just wait for the right moment to get everything done. His pressure that he's provided towards the bottom side of the map and his adaptability in games, his opportunities at trying to come back have really set this player apart.
I've been a really big fan of how well he's able to link up with Kim Down. You know, we did have that talk about both of them together just a moment ago, but man, when we saw them in that last series against Fear, it was Mir and Kim Down funneling a lot of Fear into positions they didn't want to be. You know, that coordination, that ability
this
to work
clip?
together, absolutely fantastic. As we do have some closing thoughts to get here, I want to hear from you, Concept. What are your thoughts on Mir?
No, I mean, of course, like, you guys already touched on all things he does in-game. He's clearly an elite player in the game. And he also is clearly a great teammate. I'm sure that he was a big part of helping Kim Down and a big reason that they're successful together now. I think that's really impressive.
All right, well, the stakes are now set. We're going to go and throw it over to our casters as they get ready for our first game of the series. We got 3 of them all together. It's going to be Cubby, Magical, and Beatdown. Go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much, Eric. We are here for the lower bracket finals between the #1 seed in Cloud9 Challengers and the #9 seed in Team Liquid Challengers. I can't say I'm more excited than I am right now to be able to watch these two teams back at it all the way from round 2 to here.
It's going to be really cool to see what these teams can do. And I know we've been talking to a couple of the teams, you know, how they feel going into today. Beatdown, I got to say, we have a couple different diagnoses from each side. I know you caught up with Zazel. What does Zazel have to say about Team Liquid Challengers?
Yeah, it was a really interesting, especially when we like compared notes about it afterwards. I asked Zazel a couple of questions. Big things that I took away from this were why he thought they lost to Dig C, and it was how they thought that they kind of played into them too much. They went for every fight opportunity they could, and a lot of them ended up playing into Dig's favor. And as for the diagnoses, I asked him about how this is a rematch, guys. If you aren't familiar with this, for you guys who are watching, exactly from round 2, and we all feel TLC as a team has changed, leveled up a lot, but Zazel actually thinks that they are still the same team, and it's just the meta later on into this bracket that favors them.
Yeah, I found that interesting because like talking with APA before, he said, you know, a huge turning point for these guys is actually the tiebreaker. They played the last game of regular season against Wildcard. He said since then, you know what, we all bought in. We decided to play as a team. We are a different team now. I know we've really felt that way with Team Liquid Challengers. They've gone from being our 9 seed to now in top 3. And we'll see if they can really turn the tide and have a better game against C9, as of course they were in the lower bracket because they faced them early in the tournament. So really interesting rematch that we have here.
I still like what APA said early on in the tournament, though, that the seeding doesn't matter. It's all fake.
Seeding's fake.
They're a ninth seed, but it was like game separating ninth all the way to third place. So seeing them here shouldn't be that surprising despite being the number 9 seed. But I want to see how these two teams are going to battle it out. So let's get ready for Champions League between these two teams, Cloud9 Challengers. You guys were talking about it. I mean, this has to be the favorite going into the lower bracket finals. But Team Liquid, they have been battling back so valiantly. That series against Cincinnati Fear was so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that game 5 was pretty wild. The fact that TL, they were down like 2K gold 6-7 minutes into the game, managed to get back in.
Dragon fight.
Yeah, the dragon fight was a great highlight. I think that what really is big to me, though, about Team Liquid and their change, when they get a lead in the early game, the way they snowball the map, they play it very well, very cleanly. This is something that, you know, this team had last year with that roster that did win the 2 chains, of course, in both spring and summer, too. I think that's going to be really key for them, because if it goes mid to late, I think C9's creativity and how they play map at the later stages, how they set up fights, is really strong, and the reason why they were considered our top dogs throughout the season.
Yeah, we'll even credit TL as well. In that series against Fear, a big thing that really played out for them well in that game 5, but in other games as well, is that their ability to play well from behind. They make really great trades across the map and a lot of really smart decisions. And I think that is going to be really important if they don't start to run away with this early game, even though I do agree I favor Cloud9.
Yeah. Now, I mean, speaking of early game, we got to go to pick Ben real quick. A lot of marksmen being taken off the board for the first pick, Zeri. But what goes to me immediately, Vi and Wukong are both up for TL. Right. I expect them both to be slammed here. I mean, Wukong and Rakan is up.
That's what I'm expecting too. Because Mir, when we look back to his series previously, has been dominating on this Wukong. But Annie's also something that has been left through that we've seen nearly permanently banned all tournament long.
That is a pretty big deny from C9. I think C9's been playing that quite a bit. It's 3 plays for Zeyzal. They flexed it once to Diplex. But on TL, I do expect this Annie a little bit more likely to go towards APA, and C9 are going to deny that Rakan. Now, the answer for Rakan for TL, it's been either Renata or Nautilus, so going to have to look out for that throughout the draft.
Yeah, I really like that answer too there, because it is an important takeaway. I think Zeyzal's Annie has been the best so far in this tournament, and now you give that option over to either APA or Kim Down. And I think, yeah, getting a marksman for yourself right now is really going to be priority. I want to see if C9 actually get that read on the Renata, and they just take that out of the picture.
Well, it's the Renata and the Thresh. Kim Down's also been playing a lot of Thresh recently, so that could be something else denied. Maybe just double up on the support bans, not something we typically see in a lot of these drafts.
Yeah, at the moment, though, you know, we do have matching roles with the potential, of course, Annie being flexed mid. So with that, I think we're going to see, you know, some targeted bans. I do like the Gragas. That does hit both top and mid, technically. Diplex, I don't think he's shown it yet this tournament, but we do expect our mid laners to be able to play the Gragas. And we know it's a really good champ for Fake God. And then we'll see what C9 decides to attack. I mean, my eyes go towards Sion. I feel like Sion's been really big in this tournament. And Ben, I think Bradley's strongest tank if TL does want to bust that out.
Oh, but the Cassiopeia respect. I kind of like that. Now, we were talking about this all week long, looking at APA on this Cassiopeia. The Cassiopeia Ziggs, these 2 picks that a lot of people just aren't well practiced into. It seems like Cloud9 are just saying, yeah, you know what? We don't want to have to deal with something we're just not too used to.
So I did ask APA about that, like, hey, why the Cassio and the Ziggs? And he said, I feel like players just do not punish lane enough at this level. I can play them, get away with them. They get really strong later in the game. They do fit our team. But another target ban. The Cannon, I know that you said that was really big in the series against Fear B-Town.
I did, yeah. That was something I was kind of expecting to get taken away as well. I think I prefer that one over to the Sion just because of how, I mean, you look at what Cloud9 have already shown so far in the draft, lacking a little bit in the range. I know the Maokai ultimate helps, but the fact is, once you get that out of the way, that cannon would be super impactful here. Now, we're going to get that kind of answer. Because the Renata wasn't taken away, you actually have that answer for the dive that C9 are sort of going for here.
I got to say, the cannon ban tells me we could see a Gnar here for Fake God. He's very comfortable blinding that. And then also the Cassio, that is a good matchup in the Silas. Silas is not great into Annie, which is now showing mid. But we could see a Vigar. Vigar would bring a lot of control for C9 and a lot of that scaling that, you know, we talked about. We feel like they're really strong at.
Yeah, I was even looking at the Kali that Diplex has played, something that he is very comfortable on, but the Vigar just makes way more sense in this composition, as you're talking about, Gubby.
Yeah.
And the zone control is super important there. I think with the cage is what I really like about that champion.
Yeah, also, you're not playing into that dive that Renata loves to play in. It's also why I don't think Gnar's the worst pick here, if that wants to be the choice. Or, you know, it could be the Sion. You can somewhat stat check Annie plus Aphelios. But no, actually, it's going to be Renekton So I guess when you have Vygar plus Seri, maybe C9 just wants some point in the map to play through in the early game, or a little bit of consistency to make sure they don't get blown out of the water. I think that Sion could be a really nice pick here for Bradley, though.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that. I expect that that's got to be the pick, just looking at what is on the table. Plus, we've been seeing a lot of the Renekton kind of propping up on the LCS stage, and usually the answer into him has been Sion.
Oh, wait! But instead, it's actually going to be the Olaf.
Yeah.
I actually really like this pick a lot because you got a lot of CC on Cloud9's side. And I mean, Bradley, one, it's going to be a pretty good matchup for him. But later on into that game, he can just ignore everything Cloud9 is throwing
The
at
key
him.
for me is, like, can he get blown up by Vygar, right? Because with Olaf, you need to keep on running forward, auto-attacking, throwing down those axes. But this is a really good pick for Bradley. This is something that Bradley even played last year before Olaf top was cool. It was one of his most played. He had a really good win rate on it. It's a pretty decent draft for Olaf. And that, again, goes into that identity of TL where they want to play those early Herald fights. And they want to make sure they are strong for that. So with the anti-Wukong, you can win mid-jungle and try and play through that to set up the rest of the map. We'll see if TL can do that in game 1.
With how this draft is right now, I feel like it kind of goes into the identities we've seen with these two teams so far. We have that mid-jungle prowess from TLC. They even have that ability to play early into the game here. Lower bracket finals between these two teams. The winner will go and have a match against the two-time playoff finalists in Dignitas. Will it be the four-peat in those finals for Team Liquid Challengers, or will Cloud9 be able to make it back to the finals they have been denied for so long?
Alrighty, we're going to see if TL can get things going for them in that early game. And hey, that's a great start already.
Early flash.
Yeah, I mean, that's already big because, one, that's something you could punish earlier on. You know that Wukong is really good at skirmishing earlier on into the game. This is like the staple pick for Mir throughout these playoffs as well, and he's been so good at punishing other junglers when they're in these sorts of disadvantages.
Yeah, also shout out to our production teams. You can tell on the bottom of the screen. We got some cameras in the rooms of these teams. Yeah, looking good here. Yeah, I'd love to see a lot of our players hitting tab. You know who the tab spammers are, scoreboard. But as we start off this game, Maokai will be down that flash. And actually, curiously enough, looks like each of our junglers is pathing towards that top side beatdown. So a little bit of, I guess, lack of focus on the bot lane, something that we're not used to seeing on this patch and in this meta.
I agree, but I think it's very important to focus on that top side, especially because of that R5 we see from Bradley here on the Olaf. You get him ahead, you basically guarantee that he alone can get you that Rift Herald fight. We talk about TLC as a team being that early game team. I remember, Cubby, you talked about it all split long, even through their struggles, that playing for the early game would help them in the long run, and it has. So now, playing towards Bradley in this early game to get that Rift Herald, get a lead, is what I
love watching it with Olaf. Like, right there, we see level 1, Bradley goes up to the Renektons, like, hey, yeah, I can fight you early. I'm Olaf. I'm one of the few champions that can actually rumble against you so early on.
I think the nice part about Olaf, too, I mean, Maokai is pathing up. Olaf does so much damage, like in the earlier stages, and especially to a Maokai that, lacks a bit of damage. Yeah. If Olaf can sustain through that, this is going to be a really tough lane to gank. Also, you can see Bradley, he did take 2 combat summoners, so has that flash plus the ghost. I think that's part of the reason that Mir is pathing towards the top side, because if you don't get a good first couple of resets, that lane can get really tough. So I do like that TL is supporting this, and I think that it's going to be really difficult for Tommy to actually get involved in that lane.
Yeah, and just seeing that Mir's on this top half as well, you talked about sacking the bot lane, something that we haven't really seen too much out of TLC. It's intelligent reads here, understanding that Bradley wants to play so aggressively, and there, spotting out that Tomio is on the top half. This gives Mir so much information.
Tomio did drop a defensive ward.
Yeah, so they're going to know that he's there, but look, Bradley has the prio. Like, Tomio has to give up this camp.
Yep. Has to give up the camp. Well, more than likely the blue buff that he has to give up. The Gromp he might be able to get like as a consolation prize right there, but it's not likely that he's going to get too much more. Losing out on the blue buff early on as Maokai, detrimental to what Tomio can do early on, especially with how we look at TLC, and you guys were talking about their early game, looking to put pressure right out of the gates.
I mean, they're feasting. Tomio has dropped his recall that has been spotted by APA. He's going to go for maybe a smite fight. He's going to lose out on that, though. So Mir, again, Tomio, that's just wasted time.
More wasted time. Loses out on the scuttle, too.
Yeah, like he loses out on a lot there, and the fact this is what we were talking about. You have that push mid, you have that push top, and Mir immediately is going to go ahead and be able to take advantage of that. You see the lead that he's gotten so far. He still has camps to farm.
I will say one of the small drops or disadvantage of that, Bradley did sacrifice a 3-wave base in order to support that play. Now, I think it's worth it for TL. Don't get me wrong, but keep in mind, Bradley doesn't have those that TP to get back. So if he's not able to, sustain in this lane, or if he can't get a good base off on the next bounce, he could be in a little bit of trouble.
Look at how far ahead Mir is, though. That's the big thing.
Yeah,
Mir
it's worth it.
Double the camp of Tomio, and already putting pressure onto the second Scuttle Crab. Tomio's like, yeah, what can I do? I can't do anything.
Wow.
I really like that he just holds off on the base. He walks through the jungle, like walks in front of Diplex. He's denying every crumb of farm that Tomio can get for himself. Yeah, exactly. And now that he's on this bottom side of the map, you can see a Kim down arrow, feeling a little more confident, as it's looking like Mir actually might not even recall. He's got the respawn for the rest of his camps.
This is big too, because we mentioned in draft, when you have Annie Wukong, that is a winning mid-jungle duo. What TL is getting out of it early, really big, because it's not like, TL, they have a couple scaling aspects. I do think Bradley will be tough to deal with this game for the comp of C9, but you're still looking at a Vigar Zeri late game. The amount of control that C9 is going to have in those fights is big, so the fact that TL has Mir ahead, we did mention, the early Rift Herald fight could be big for TL. That's going to already set them up for a lot of success in this game.
Yeah, and a small thing too is that we're seeing Arrow actually took cleanse into this lane, where if you look at the interactions, it's like there isn't really anything for it in the laning phase, but it's for the Maokai, it's for the Vigar, which you don't necessarily see often as far as ADs go, but you could see Arrow setting himself up for those later stages of the game.
A lot of this from TLC is making sure they're in a good position for this mid game. Getting this early dragon, continuing these leads, despite not getting a kill and the gold really not showing it, they're in firm control of everything that C9C want to do.
This is the best start that you could ask for. Even this camp that Tomio's taken, it's not a respawn camp, right? He doesn't get as much value out of this. You could not ask for a better start as TL.
No, look at Mir's farm at this point. Like, he still hasn't recalled. He's gonna have such a big base. And despite all of that, despite no gold spent, TL are still winning on these early objectives here. So soon you're going to see that gold spent, and you're going to see that winning mid-jungle duo really start to set up TLC for this Rift Herald that's coming up in less than 2 minutes.
I like that right there from Bradley. He understands that there's a possibility that Tomio needs to get something back on the map. Could have dove a level 5 Olaf, make sure to let you punish him before he gets level 6. So he plays incredibly passively until he hits level 6. Now he's like, I can farm up. I can at least secure a little bit more vision. It allows Mir the freedom to go back to base and finally buy.
A little bit of trading going on there for APA, but that aside, it's as you said, Cubby. TLC getting everything they want into this early game. It is a specialty of theirs, and it's what they've been focusing on all split long. And it's really start to come to fruition for them come playoffs time. And now you see that hourglass on the Rift Herald. We're about less than a minute away. We're going to see if supports get involved in the grabbing of that Rift Herald if there's a skirmish. But TLC looking so good now that Bradley is 6, APA is 6, and Mir is getting close to that.
I thought you were talking about, Zonius for a second.
No.
I think the one concern for TL in this Herald fight's Renekton. And Renekton's so strong at that point of the game, has the pickaxe. If there's any way that they can maybe make sure Renekton's under his turret or off the map, I think that's what I'd play towards if I'm TL. At the moment, though, when you have Aphelios, you always have the option to play for the other side of the map. As Mir has that early 6, get cleanse out of Lost. Well played, as that's a little bit of a win there for TL.
Love it. Love that.
And you see the pings. Yeah, they're just immediately going towards that Herald now. Mir is just going to beeline. APA is set up for it, and they still have that time to make that top play you were talking about, Cubby, or see if they can at least just get Bradley to shove that wave in.
So that top play, again, I think the one thing that does really scare me is just how strong Renekton is at this stage of the game. A TL, I favor their comp at the Herald fight if they do want to take it, whether that's a 5v5 or a 3v3. It's just that Renekton does get a lot of value. At the moment, though, it looks like C9, they aren't really prioritizing it. And of course, because you do have that Aphelios on the other side of the map, you always have the option to try and play red-white and get the Aphelios plates. But at the moment, it looks like C9's rotating up. They're thinking about it. All has been popped.
They've got the 3 people locked down at the moment, but it is going to be them safe still. Looking at the minimap, you can see they're still trying to path up. They're getting a lot of damage. That's going to be the right. Make sure they chop down the tree with the axes, and Bradley survives with Mir going to be the focus, trying to get on top of anybody. But it looks like TLC will all survive, even though they're all low. And here are the reinforcements, getting flashes out of Cloud9 at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, now the cavalry is here, though. Arrow and Kim Down have shown up, and that's the move that they need. Zeyzal is at level 6, doesn't have the quickness to be able to help set this up, but I mean, they still look like they want it. Bradley is very low health.
He's stacking up chakrams, though.
They're all stacking up. They're all ready. It's so low that it's going to be secured by Mir. Won't be the fight after all.
Well done from TL. Again, red-white Aphelios is so strong. You can use that to get points in the bot side, but TL did rotate up, supported the team, got the win for the fight and the Herald.
Yeah, really crucial for them to be able to pick up both. It looked like a little dicey for the moment as Zeyzal got that first move, but TL, they kited it out well. They played it out, took their time, and it's that teamwork again. You talked about it, Cubby. The way APA was talking about how they're going all in since that tiebreaker loss against Wildcard Gaming. And you can just tell that difference since then. Even we were watching the VODs last night, how even from behind this, they play together so well, they coordinate so well, and we never really see instances of them being like, maybe the play itself wasn't great, but they all committed to it, and that's something we praise teams like Fear for.
Hey, the play works out if nobody dies, you get the objective, and you get first blood. I'm going to take that as a win every day in the book.
Oh yeah, it was a great play for TLC.
I mean, I think we also see, some of the issue of Malachi in the early game. You're a big tree. You're jumping into the Bay Boy to Wukong, and then the Olaf starts spinning those axes.
Isn't that the bigger thing? That you're a tree. You get chopped down by axes, so it's really difficult. But right now, APA does have flash. Still can get out of there. Doesn't even bother using it.
Hugging the correct side of the lane. Well done there from APA as Mir and Kim Down were behind him to support. At Chunk, though, APA has TP. He might be forced to TP in a little bit, and
flash in. No, that's enough. Wow, solo bolo for Diplex.
Yeah, I mean, really nice. It would have been tough for APA. He could have TP'd back to the lane, and maybe, but walking into C9's comp is kind of hard. So Diplex, just to make absolutely sure, switches to the Ignite, secures the kill, and that should mean you get the Dragon.
You're
but
strong.
Mir and Kim Down, they're watching, and they are strong.
Mir is strong. He could think about it. He's just going to let him take as much damage from the Dragon as possible. We'll see if Mir pulls the trigger. Cage should be enough. Lost is split. We'll see if TL decides to make a Herald play afterwards, as that was the Dragon. But well done from C9. Again, this is a comp not the strongest at the moment, but I love how Diplock's still looking for moments to be aggressive. Really nice play from him there.
It's as a Vygar player, that I see that right there. I see the disrespect anyone gives to Vygar. I'm like, wait a minute. You're half health. I have ult. You're dead.
Yeah, this is how it goes. Really nice catch out there, especially given how it's, as you said, he's not as strong as you're hoping for at the moment. Just purchased the Roa and is currently stacking that one up, but still finding plays here. I mean, you look at Cloud9, we talk about this comp and them as a team going mid to late and how they play. I mean, being down 600 gold or 500 gold even, it's really not a big deal. You're not sweating yet, so there is that pressure a little bit, onus on a TLC to make use of that Rift Herald that we know Mir's still holding on to.
Looking mid lane for a second, ready to see if APA was going to get dove by Tomio. Still having the flash, not burning it before. Could have been a bit risky, but here might be a dive set up. Even though Fake God does have ult still left, Ragnarok and Cyclone are up for TLC with a massive blast cone that could get him right underneath the turret, but you always got to be careful of diving a Renekton, like the damage that he already did.
Wow.
That's why you have to fear the Croc. He fights back. He will maybe fall to the monkey. No, he won't. And with APA too late to the play, he outplays the top side.
Big play for Fake God, because it denies plates over to Bradley as well, so it's a big win, and now C9 can rotate over, make sure APA can't get any. Massive play from Fake God.
Love it. That's what's so scary about diving the Croc, and now they look to re-engage. They get APA to go golden. Hostile takeover, not going to connect on anybody. But TLC are going to be the ones that still have their tails tucked between their legs.
It's an early stopwatch. Really nice use from APA. You get that out of the picture. But, I mean, overall, that was a nice response there from Cloud9. They forced, specifically Fake God. The fact that he was able to make that play really turn this around there for Cloud9.
Oh, Bradley's new ult. He could be in trouble here on the back half. He can't even approach this wave, so he's going to lose even more C9, I mean, it was a good start for TL. I think they played around the first Dragon, the first Herald really well. But some of the moments in recovery from C9 since then has been very sound.
Especially when you have Renekton, like I was saying before, once I saw that Dominance was still up, that's so difficult to dive a Renekton. You have to get that out first, because with how low Bradley was, as Olaf, you want to play low health, but not against a Renekton.
Well, I also love Fake God just hitting the wave before it got all the way into the turret. That's actually what saved him and made that play.
Okay, wait, Fake God.
Yeah, on top.
I got a little scared for a second. With how low he is and without Dominance, he could have been solo died by Bradley, but Tomio was there just to protect.
I mean, Bradley doesn't quite have the ultimate up yet, so it's just going to threaten and make sure Bradley can get this wave in. But I mean, we talked about how important it is to kind of help Bradley get through this early game. You can see that how he's fallen behind a little bit because of what we saw a couple minutes prior, and because that TP advantage means Fake God is coming right back, and he has the dominance to play with.
C9's matching though. I think each solo laner though for C9 has made really nice plays to make sure they're at this game state. And now that plates are down, kind of closer to the mid game. We like C9's comp lot moving forward. Like being able to play with Vigar plus Zeri, the amount of space that you can buy for that is big. As Fake God, double dash.
Hey, gotta be careful still. Bradley, you're playing with fire, and there's Tomio right behind the flash again. Did you not learn your lesson before? Thank God on the croc, fighting back yet again. You cannot sink the beast. He will chop down for a double kill.
And this is so bad for TL, because again, you need this Olaf to survive the Vigar burst, be able to actually team fight. Bradley now is so far behind from these couple of plays. He's lost 3 waves. They haven't been able to get any kills on Renekton. He's down 30 creeps now. And like, what can you do if you're Olaf from behind? You're just going to get melted as you walk into Vigar plus Zeri.
Right there, look at mid lane. APA nearly getting melted as well. Had it not been for Tibbers, probably would have been another solo bolo for Diplex. Azazel also defending the pushed up Vigar.
Yeah, but I mean, this rotation it's already too late. That Herald is going to go over to Tomio. He's going to walk away, and TL are just walking away with nothing from these last couple of minutes. Cloud9, again, the solo laners have just been playing so very well, especially Fake God in those last 2 exchanges. And it means that Cloud9 have a Rift Herald that they just walked away with. It means they have 3,500 gold because they managed to grab some early turrets, and they are the ones who are firmly in the lead.
We're gonna have this replay as well. This is the problem when you're level down as Olaf into the Renekton. You saw how much damage he took initially, and when you're low health as Olaf, you want that, but not against Fake God.
And you see it, or go ahead.
No, I mean, Fake God had Bork done, and you can see how big that first empowered W trade was against Olaf, as this is down the first time to spike. Again, this was a little bit of the trade-off. I mean, even going back to like level 3, the 3rd wave, right? Bradley wasn't able to get that base in, come back with a Cole. They went to get Mir ahead. Mir did get ahead. Mir did some decent work early. But in the back half, a couple bad decisions, bad fights from TL, and a good play from Fake God or 2. And all of a sudden, he's been the big difference maker so far in this Game 1 beatdown.
And you can see, too, the fact that now that this mid wave is in, now that Fake God can push this top wave in, Tomio now has the free reign. He's walking deep into Mir's side of the map. Lost and Zazel, they're setting up all this vision. But TL, they want to try and force them out.
Hostile takeover does get the cleanse out of Lost. Zazel on the other side with Tomio. There's a massive blast cone that they could all use to see if they could just jump all the way away.
And you still have a Herald to play for. This is Cloud9. And they're just going to walk back in, actually. They're not actually afraid. Now that Bradley has to answer that top side, and Fake God is here.
Arrows being here does scare them a little bit. You can tell that they now realize they should fall back.
Zazel just eating the Tibbers as Rakan. Zazel's Rakan 3-0 so far in these playoffs. 4th game now the most played. And TL is trying to find the skirmish there to give up some priority over the Dragon, and look at the side lanes for C9. Fake God crashing that wave into the top turret, and then, of course, Diplex with all that skirmishing going on in the top side jungle. He's just been left to his own devices in the bot lane, picks up another turret for himself. And this is a Vigar, folks. He is way ahead of the power curve, and he's going to be damn scary moving forward here.
165 stacks already, 18 minutes into the game. You'll have to feel that.
Yeah, he's really strong at the moment here, and look at that. Because of this, oh wait, there's a play.
It's not a play. It's just a dead Bradley. That's all it is. That's all it is.
This is so good too, because I was just gonna talk about how TLC were sacrificing a lot to be able to go for that dragon. Again, the side lanes were already pushed in, and it made the opening for what we're seeing right here. That top tier 2 out of the picture. Fake God able to escort the Herald into the top turret. Basically about to 1v1 Kim down.
5
and
levels
this mid lane
over
is
him.
also pushed in. Yeah, Fake God's big.
Another charge for Shelly as well on the inhibitor topside as Arrow taken low by Diplex, flashed away as well with a nice quickness from Zeyzal to try to defend.
Wow.
That bailout's not going to work. They get the kill onto the monkey and get out.
Diplex is too far ahead, and guys, this game, it's looking done and dusted, I gotta say. TL, we saw some good early game moments from them. I like how they played with priority early with Mir, but the recovery from C9 after that first Herald, too damn good. All it really took was 2 mistakes from the solo laners at TL, and C9 have just taken this game and run away with it.
This is a team you can't give any inches to. C9, there's a reason they're the #1 seeded team that we've had, that everyone is praising all split long as being the best team in the Challengers League.
And we even talked about how after that tough loss to Dignitas, 1-3, that got them down here in the lower finals in the first place. We wanted to see if Cloud9 could be able to recover in that early game if they find themselves falling behind. And even though they didn't fall too far behind, that recovery was so good. Again, really want to shout out Fake God for... it really all started with that first Herald we saw earlier on, denying the max value of that play and getting Fake God to this point where now we see him level 13, 4-0, working towards what is looking like a Prowler's Claw. He's so huge alongside Diplex.
Yeah, I gotta say too, one-shot Renekton in this game is, I think A, it shows the priority they have on really putting down the Olaf, but B, you are into all squishies. I think that there is legitimate value in this, so I like the build from Fake God. And, I mean, once he finished that Bork, you could feel the impact of it. He's going to keep on running with that from here as TL. And they're just left to pick up sideways. This map is C9's, and I'm expecting a pretty... we'll see how slow the bleed out is here for the side of TLC. But, again, I think given the draft that we have, C9, their comp's going to be so much more favorable moving forward. I mean, how do you play into Vigar with this comp as TL? And also, just how do you play the game as Olaf? Vigar's going to be one-shotting you, right? You want to keep on auto-attacking and sustaining during these fights. They're not even going to have a single chance to.
They're not even going to have a chance to defend this final turret mid lane that stands before their inhibitor turret. They are so far behind at this point. 6,000 gold at 21 minutes into the game. Sure, there's 2 dragons to TLC's name. They could possibly play for a YOLO soul, but with how far behind they are, like you said, who can step up to either Fake God or Diplex?
Yeah, it's face checking into this comp that is so difficult, especially with that gold deficit you find yourselves in. They group up to push mid and hoping to make the play on the top side. You see the pings, but Diplex is respecting it. He's not overstaying, he's backing away, and we've seen TL try to do these things when they find themselves in these more losing situations where they try to all in on a side lane, see if they can catch somebody out and help them fix the map a little bit. But that's all if Cloud9 give them that opportunity.
TLC still at least looking for them. And that's the big thing. A lot of teams put into this position will kind of roll over, forfeit, not even try to look for a play like this. But here, they are grouped up. But there's also the double-edged sword with this, that if you get caught out trying to make this play, it is all done and dusted.
It's good reads from Cloud9 as well. Oh, no.
Uh-oh, Kim down. Has flash, doesn't even bother. Sacrificial lamp so the rest of the herd can survive.
Baron on the table here for C9, as I think they just gotta hit it this wave. I mean, you could drop the dragon, doesn't really matter. Yeah, C9 gonna start this one off, and again, TL early game draft didn't really get as much of a lead as they wanted. Feeling the consequences of it now as walking into Maokai plus Vigar.
Yep.
You see how difficult life is.
Mir is still looking for that play on the other side. That was the wrong monkey that a lot of that was used onto, as he is still waiting with flash available. They have no idea where he's at, so C9 properly decide not to flip it, as you talked about, Pete.
It's fine. Like, by hitting Baron like that, you still make sure you're hitting midway first. You could transition to the bot to make sure the dragon's okay. You can see C9 still playing up on the map, so I actually like that bluff from them. They will trade flash for flash with APA. That's trading up in flashes. It's a small thing from Zeyzal. But, I mean, that's what C9 does so well in White. They're such a tough team to beat. Like, just trading a flash on the Annie for a Rakan, that's so worth it. If you think about it overall. C9 will take any angle they can. Really nice from Zeyzal.
Yeah, absolutely. You deny that flash engage from APA. He doesn't have that opportunity anymore, at least for these next couple of minutes. And now you're seeing it again, TLC. They know they need to do something to pick up some of these bounties. And this is something that we do talk about and we like from this team, where Dragon is not theirs. They understand this, so they're going to try and see what they can trade on the other side. It isn't much, but it's honest work.
It's gold. It's some gold.
Some gold.
It takes 6,000 gold deficit to 5,000, right?
It's an objective bounty. It's dopamine, baby.
True.
You get that. You get that special sound effect. You know, make you feel like you might have a chance, even when you really don't. But you know, take that in the next game.
See, Cubby, you need to play more games with me. There's always my old adage. Despite if you have an early game, mid game, late game comp, you always have the late game. You always got to believe in yourselves and how you can fight these fights.
Always have the mental. That's
exactly.
What we like to.
Doesn't matter if you fall behind early. You can look for plays. If they can kill Fake God, that's a huge play. But Zazel's on the other side to make sure that he'll be safe. Arrow did survive as well, though he did burn both his summoners just to make sure.
Yeah, he had to flash away preemptively because Fake God could have flash followed. Again, that would have been a worthy trade, as this Prowler's Claw Renekton still the reign of terror on the Rift as Fake God. I mean, he has been the big highlight this game. And honestly, for Fake God, this is a player that, you know, in the past hasn't been flashy. When he was good in LCS, he was known for, you know, being weak side and being effective in team fights. When he was bad in LCS, he was kind of the butt of the joke for the league. But I think Fake God in this league, he's had a really solid year. And it's good to see him have games where, you know, he can pop off and be the big difference maker.
And I like, too,
Fake
that
God has that motivation. That's the big thing to me.
Yeah, and I really like, too, that from Fake God, that it seemed like he was kind of slowing down into playoffs, not seeing that resurgence we saw from him during the regular split. But this game is just completely flipping that right back to what we expect from him here. Now, Cloud9 hitting the Baron.
Gone. It's gone. There's no way they can defend it. They put down the Baby Cage. Mirror is forced away by the quickness, so they can secure that. But now, with the Nature's Grasp and Mirror being bounced around by Zazel, completely soloed out by the Rakan, the alley-oop a kill for loss as Mirror does flash away, taking a long time to fall. Still skirting danger, but that's going to be the battle song to pop. He should still die regardless.
He doesn't
He's
know
getting a lot of distance and has the blast code.
Unless,
does he actually survive? No way. Tomio's here.
He's out.
Does he have the right monkey over the wall with a huge blast code as well? Mir, they're still chasing, bro. They ain't done. Look at this. Diplex is there. He's out.
Flash R? Flash R? No, okay. He's not
It's the
going to
little
go for
things. It's the little things sometimes, you know? Getting Mir out of there. Good for next game. C9 still going to blow the wave. That's going to be another tower for them, not to mention the Baron. C9 still taking the steps they need to take. And I mean, can't really emphasize enough. I'm really glad we have Concept on the desk. Also Josh, or Joshi, you know, a little bit of top lane player himself. But I'm really curious what Concept thinks about this Renekton and the Olaf matchup and how this is played by Fake God. Because I mean, this entire game was turned on its head by that solo kill Diplex found mid to get C9 that second dragon, and Fake God preventing that dive, turning it around to the 1v2 top.
The Soul Laners from Cloud9 going huge in this game one here, in this best of 5 here in our lower finals. And TLC, I mean, it's looking tough.
As now another inhibitor turret should fall, this one in the bot lane. 2 inhibitors exposed, and even look at top lane, how low that turret is from the previous Shelly crash. All they'd have to do is rinse, repeat, get the wave state there. They get every inhibitor if they want to. Cloud9 are playing patiently. The Mirror does not want to let
That's a lot of damage.
APA survives. They've taken down Zeri. But what happens when you get Fake God to join in the fight? They've got a double kill for Arrow, but he's done. And their beast charges down and kills Arrow. So now Cloud9, they fight back. They get something, but they do lose 3 for just 1 kill.
Yeah, the flank, it was so good there from Bradley. Mir using the camouflage from his W to find such a good angle. Cloud9 overstay a little bit, and you pick up some serious gold. I mean, watch Mir here on the pink ward to make sure no one ends up seeing him. And there it is. They see the opening, lost steps a little too far forward, and even though it takes him a while to fall, they shut him down, and all that gold is going on to the Aphelios.
I mean, big difference is Arrow. He had the Chakrams stacked up because of the big ultimate. Look at how many Chakrams he has that he's just blowing people away. I know he gets one-tapped by Fake God, but he was able to put out so much damage at the start that, as you mentioned, Beatdown, they trade evenly. They do get some shutdowns. And again, TL, for me, something you can take with you for the rest of the series, right? We are in this for a best of 5. Yes, I think this game's wrapped up. But that was a nice play, a nice angle from TL. Might be able to build some confidence moving forward with some of the team fights they can take.
It ain't over till it's over, Cubby. This game still...
I've been calling this one over for 10 minutes, man.
I know you have, but it ain't over till it's over.
Hey, I've seen some crazier things that happened in Challengers League, all right? We had Fear versus Fly game 1. That doesn't mention, you know, some of the games we had earlier in the split. Very first game of the split. You remember we had the Pentakill Zeri that was up, you know, 15k gold that lost. That was week 1. That was fun.
That did happen. Oh Lord.
Yeah.
We've seen things, which is the point. Yeah, it was good. And well, TL gonna have to show us a little bit of that magic if they want to come back into this one. Arrow, we could see, got that influx of gold. Isn't quite caught up to Lost. And you see the gold leads across the rest of the map there for Cloud9 Challengers. Fake God especially just being so big on top of everything he's been able to do this
question
game.
for Mad Magical.
Yeah, what up?
How does the death cap work on Vigar, like on the character? Like, where does that hat go on Vigar? He already has a hat.
Have you never worn 2 hats at once?
No.
You just put it on top of the other hat.
Me neither.
Yeah. Well,
it's simple.
He's double capped up.
I've worn like 5 hats at one time. You just stack them up on top of each other.
Well, speaking of stacks, Vigar's sitting at 278 stacks, 902 ability power, and
crazy.
I think he's doing the. I think Diplex is doing his mid-lane coach proud. We might say that this game.
Not at 1K yet. Disappointing.
I mean, like he'll be there any second. Like,
nah, you get that before 30 minutes or you're failing.
Okay.
All right, well,
I mean,
you know, you can reset. Okay,
I mean,
that's
okay,
a
but
lot
can we see that W damage? Can we not
That's a
be
lot of
like?
damage.
Can we not
Right,
be
you know
like?
what? I'll give it.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll give it to him. Because right now, C9 are firmly in control. 7,000 gold, 3 dragons to their name as well. And despite a good fight back there for TLC, it's not like they gained any control back on the Rift. They're still forced back into their base with nothing they could really play around.
And I think one thing, too, that really solidifies how in control Cloud9 are, something I always talk about is this particular map, the Chemtech, with those empowered Scryer's orbs, it's actually hard to maintain vision in the enemy side of the jungle because of how easy it is to clear. But look at this bottom side. Look at what Cloud9 have been able to do despite all of that. It usually... No, I know, but my point is saying that Cloud9 have control. It usually favors teams who are falling behind because they have that easier time clearing out their...
That's very blue. Dabba-dee, dabba-die.
Oh, yeah, it is very blue. Exactly. And I mean, props to Cloud9 just for having that map control. It's going to set them up really nicely for, I mean, one, see Diplex very confident pushing in that bottom lane as far as he is. And it sets up Cloud9 really well for the next dragon, which is going to be their soul.
It's Cloud9. This one, as long as they don't make a play like previous where Arrow can pop off and possibly battle back again. They still have 2 shutdowns, plus one of the people with the shutdown gold has now completed that GA.
I think we learned a little bit, too, about C9, at least in this game. Like, I think that when I saw them drop their series to Dignitas, like, a lot of the drafts I saw Dig, you know, taking very heavy early game. C9, you know, still playing in the mid to late game, which has been their strength. I think that this game, we have seen C9 still do that. Of course, the core of their comp is that Vigar Zeri. But I do think the Renekton, you know, maybe showing... maybe something C9 took away from that series. Like, hey, we do need a point of power on the map early. Because I think that's how they got beat up by Dignitas. And that adaptation and how well Fake Gods play this game, I think, has been really good for C9, a really big part of it. And also, I gotta say, Beatdown, you know, I don't want to project too much about the future games, but Rakan did fall to B2, B3. That really surprised me in this series, given how much Kim Downs played it and how strong that pick's been in this tournament.
Yeah, just to remind everyone, it was Blue 1, the Maokai for Tomio, and I was expecting that immediate grab of the Rakan, but it doesn't end up coming through, and you can see it. Maybe we'll see that later on as now a Baron play is coming through.
Cage, placed down. TLC.
Look at Hazel. He's got a great angle.
They gotta get into the pit, but
Okay,
where is Mir? And like you said, they have full vision of where Hazel is.
Wait,
Backline. They've got lots to go golden. That's gonna be big with the baby Cage laid down as well. They gotta get on top.
They stacked it.
Diplex. They've got to kill him. If they can get rid of him, that's gonna be huge. Fake goes.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
How the hell did you manage this comeback, man? They flash over. Fake God's out of there, but they're gonna take down the Croc. He's gonna die upon resurrection and getting all the gold for Arrow.
Are you serious?
What an angle from TL. I gotta say, it was all Mir, but also Kim Down. The long
what
distance.
did I tell you? Don't doubt the late game.
The long distance hostile takeover from Kim Down. It got lost just as he came out of Zanya's. And TL somehow were able to turn around this fight. Another red-white fight for Aphelios. He goes off and TL queen wiped him.
Watch Arrow. Watch Arrow. He was a big one here, too. He's going to flash. It looks like he flashed over that blue buff wall. No, actually, he just ended up flashing right over this wall to meet up with Mir. And you can see it right after he ults to dodge and cleanse. And now the fight is set up. Kim down and APA, they're keeping everyone locked down while the rest of TL blow Lost up, take Tomio down, and they win the fight.
And the angles, too, that Mir took, I mean, it forced Dipbox to go so far north. They took Lost down right away, who was chunked early. How does TL find that angle? C9, the setup was good, but Mir getting around, it was just enough time for them to actually pull it off. What a play from Team Liquid. And of course, this game one that we've been calling wrapped up, that shouldn't really be wrapped up this entire time.
Yeah.
It's actually interesting now.
But you doubted the Mir factor. That's the thing. Mir in this playoffs every time on Wukong. You look back to the series against Fear. You look back to the series against 100 Thieves. This Wukong, these plays have been the make or break for the team.
And the big thing now, like when you're playing such a squishy, or I should say backline-centric comp, like Vigar plus Seri, when sums are down, things get all the more scarier for you. Look at the summoner spells of both Diplex and Lost. It's only a heal for the Vigar. Another angle like that from Mir, which he's already setting up for, could be huge.
But he's going to have to move.
Oh, that's an early ult.
Yeah, Bradley doesn't have the ult anymore. That is a big catch out there. But still, you see the pink boards. Fake God is looking for him. They're using everything they can, and they just spot him.
That's big. That's big.
Yeah,
they want Renekton on him too. So now Mir, he's gonna have to go try and take that blast cone.
Nice blast cone. He's out of there, and they're on top of it.
No way.
Tomio
can he get it from there?
Doesn't have flash.
Oh my God,
he's got a long way around. He can't get into the pit. They could secure this really quickly. And now Cloud9. How does Mir keep doing this?
Okay, I guess we're on to Soul Point here for each team as TL. The way they've been playing these angles, I mean, Mir there with the empowered blast cone. It didn't give C9 really a chance, and C9, I gotta say for them, I think that A, they have to weather the storm, but B, they just want to wait till their summoner spells get back up on their squishy to try and avoid a deadly fight like that. But TL, so much credit goes to them as these last few fights and setups, they've been getting the best of C9, the team that we credited for being so strong at this point of the game before the game started today.
Yeah, and the thing too is we look at I mean, look at what TL have done so far. Cloud9 were up 6K before that fight around the Baron and where TLC wiped them. And now it's down to less than 2,000. And look at Arrow. He has scaled up. He's honestly ahead now of Lost. And we look at the actual items he has and the gold overall. And he has a stopwatch, most crucially, going for this next fight.
And before this Baron, TL had only taken that top outer turret on the map. So there's so much standing gold for them as they wear the purple suits. And you can see Arrow shredding 2 turrets here in the bot lane. Bradley taking that mid outer as well. So this game all of a sudden is an even gold game.
Wow, what a turnaround. Gotta give credit to TLC, and this is where, Covey, I'm gonna keep calling you out, bro. You said they were done. You said it was dusted, but you can never doubt TLC. We
Check
saw
my
this.
PayPal, man, for real.
Yeah, seriously. Caster Curse is real, and when we look at TLC, bringing it back to the series we saw against Fear, Game 4 is the big one I'm looking at. When they were down way early on into the game, they might have lost that game overall. They clawed back tooth and nail. Game 5 as well. Another game, they were down, and then they ended up winning to take that series to now match up against Cloud9 Challengers. This team does not give up.
I will say, even though now TLC have evened up the gold lead and everything like that, Cloud9 are still at have this composition that we kind of favor later on into the game. It's really tough to walk into Maokai, Vigar, and all of these things. So we are still looking for Mir and Kim down to be able to look for these angles that they've been finding, contributing to TLC's recent success. That is still very crucial for TLC, and the big thing we're looking towards is this Baron in 2 minutes.
That's a good call. I want to add an amendment to that. Fake God needs to mark the flanks. He needs to be the one that's looking for Wukong and finding him. And with that Prowler's Claw, I mean, Fake God is level 18. He is really strong still. So if he gets on anyone, could be a nice way to find the chunk on Mir before a fight starts, and then really have a favorable setup for C9 so they can front to back with that Vigar Zeri.
And looking at the front to back right now for Cloud9, Mikhail's picked up by Tomio. This is big for the team because we already saw in the last 2 big fights that were won by TLC, the one at the Inhibitor, the one at the Baron, were because Lost got caught out, giving him added safety, not only with the cleanse, but now that Mikhail's is going to be that much more difficult to get on top of Mir, APA, Kim down, even though Kim down is going to be more appealing for Arrow. It's all about the hostile takeover.
Oh, there's something coming? Can they? I don't think they can chase this. I'm pretty sure
they can't.
Away. So
Bradley would have had to pop a real early ghost, and Fake God got that top wave in real nice and deep. So not all bad here for C9.
No, not at all. And one thing that I do want to highlight, Mir has also picked up a stopwatch. So even though we highlight how important it is for Mir to find these angles, for Fake God to mark him and watch these flanks, I mean, they still have that extra bit of safety, so TLC have a really good shot going into these team fights. And really quickly, I want to highlight Arrow and Kim Down. I mean, they're a bot lane where some of us weren't as high on going into this regular split. We wanted to see more from them, especially Kim Down, going into playoffs. And I think, Cubby, I know you're the biggest proponent of it. These two, especially Kim Down, really turned it up in playoffs and have been a big part of why TLC are making this lower run.
Yeah, I know that I talked with Kim Down before the game today, and he said, first off, he gave a lot of credit to Arrow and his coaches for, making sure that, he has scaled a lot, as he did recognize, but also he was looking forward to playing against Zazel. He's like, hey, I knew he was an LCS player. He competed at the Worlds. I'm excited to play against a good player on stage.
Nice.
And I mean, so far, I got to say, I think each sport's been doing all right. Zazel, I want to see him continue to try and look for angles. If he does, I think it could be big, but right now, we have TL. Okay, they played through top side. They did start the Baron. This will be spotted. You can sneak in through.
They take it fast, though.
Yeah, they're just pulling TPs. They wanted to pull away from the drag. They have red-white. Do they stick it?
They got it really fast.
They're sticking
They're going for it. They're trying to save it. And they're going to, but that's engaging the pit. They got to be careful. Look at the damage on the mirror. He's got the payload, but not in time to save his life.
Arrow does so much damage.
Arrow!
No.
Oh, they got him.
C9 found the one they need to. The raid boss is out of there. Nobody else can stand up to C9's might.
It was going to be a tough finish for TL. Their comp, it ran out of gas early, and TL put up a hell of a fight, but C9, they catch him at the Baron. That's going to be the game.
Bradley trying to defend the base the best he can. He's got the Baron buff. He can hope for a miracle right now, but with how long those death timers are,
yeah,
there's no way he can do this. This game is C9's. It got dicey for a bit. Some comebacks there for TLC. The Cloud9 are the team that are #1 for a reason as they strike first in the lower bracket finals.
And even though we give props to TL for making it look close for a bit, Cloud9 Challengers were the ones who put them in that situation to claw back from in the first place. Again, big from the solo laners of Cloud9 Challengers to be able to kind of absorb the early game that TLC were going for.
Guys, I think we're in for a good series. The fact that TL actually managed to find angles to put up a fight like that, that is something they can really take a lot of confidence in moving forward, and C9 as well.
Yeah.
Their solo laner stepped up so big that game between Fake Out and Diplex. I mean, they got that game in their favor very early. I know it wasn't perfect snowballing it through. They definitely have a couple things to talk about the later stages of the game, but it still was a really sound game for C9. And if they're in that game state consistently at 15 minutes with these types of comps, C9 is going to be set up for a lot of success in this best of 5.
That's why they are up momentarily at 1-0. It is a best of 5 that we have at our hands. The winner of this will face off against Dignitas Challengers in the grand finals. For now, we're going to toss to a break. When we come back, we'll have best rests and the desk. Make sure you stick around.